Okay, so I'm just exporting my last tree right now. So I have it here sitting in Blender. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go units and meters, goes down to centimeters. Pull open my view, go to my scale. You can see right here it is sitting at 400 and 584. So I'm just going to scale this down. Scale it all down. Bring that up a bit. And I like to bring my Z around 10ish. So then I'm going to go Object, Apply, All Transforms. So now that's scaled where I want it. I'm going to File, Export, and I'm going to export that into an FBX. I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to go into my trees, and I'm going to call this. This is uprooted 3. Come into here, turn on copy, check that box, uncheck that box, hit mesh, come down here into geometry. This is the important part. None for vertex colors. Turn on tangent space. If you decide you want to use normals on these, you can later. I'm not using normals. I'm keeping them pretty simple. They look good, so I'm not worried about it. And I'm going to dial this guy down in scale now. My output size around 25 is good. I want to be here. pak4 FBX export. All right. Now I've already got this project saved. I have all my Blender projects saved, so I'm just going to close it. Don't save. Now what I'm going to do is in RGP Developer Bakin, come in, add. Oh. Cancel. I don't want to add a material. I want to add a 3D stamp. Add a stamp. Local file. Uprooted 3. Add and exit. Hit OK. All new materials, because that way I can do UV scaling on the bark differently. And if I want to make one tree animated leaves and another tree not animated leaves, I have those options. So I'm going to add all new materials. These texture files are pretty small, so it's really not a big deal in this case. A little larger distributable game at the end of the day, but it gives you a lot more flexibility when working with your trees and customizing them. So I'll hit OK. Now all I'm going to do, because I'm just bringing in an engine to show them off here, I don't need to go with a fancy mesh or anything. I'm just going to go to the box. I was going with a capsule, but on the last update, which just happened, you'll see here on screen, this bounding box doesn't fit really good anymore. Like, it doesn't line up the same. It always looks like it's superimposed over top. I hope they get that pointed out and fix it. You'll see here as I zoom in and position this. Position about there, and my X position. See how the back bar here sits in front of the tree instead of behind it? It sat behind it, but now since this last update it sits in front of it. So you've really got to look and see if you're right. And I'm not quite right here, I notice. I'm going to go just a little bit more. Go wrong way. And then I want to do just a little bit of Z rotation. Oh, not Z size, sorry. Z rotation. Sure. Now we're just going to go a little bit of Z position or X position. Should be pretty good. We need to go a little bit Z back, I think. There we go. Pretty close. But yeah, it's really irritating having this lay over top instead of giving me my accurate 3D spacing. It's crazy. I hope they fix that. I'm sure it's just a glitch. Now we'll hit OK, bring that in, and that is, where are we, uprooted 3 somewhere? 1, 2, 3. There we go. Nice ball uprooted. So there we go. Bang, bang. That was actually pretty big. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. Perfect. I don't need these massive on screen when showing, just to show them off. Of course, you can scale anything any size you want. That's the beautiful thing about it. But we're going to come in here now into 3D stamps, materials, come all the way down. Poplar 3, bark. Uprooted 2. Okay. Uprooted texture. And then we'll come here. Map discard, but you could set that as a wind if you want to. I'm not. I don't need it to move. I'm just showing these off. And then this one, second leaf, because I built these with 2 different levels of leaves to get them nice and realistic, so that you could, one, you could change up leaves between patterns. 2, you can change up the spacings between patterns. That in the right folder. That in the right folder. Gonna hit OK. Perfect. Alright, now I'm just gonna come in here. And I'm gonna go bang. Select that. And what we're gonna do is just roll that this way a bit. And I think I'm just gonna roll it this way a bit. And lay it down carefully. And there we go. So, I just wanted to show you how that comes in, and now I'm just going to jump in and give you a tour of all these things. But you can see here, before I jump in, these are the poplar trees that I'm working on. Today, I also redid, I decided I wasn't happy with my primary cherry trees or plum trees or whatever you want, colored flowered trees. I was happy with the saplings, the sparse and the sapling ones. So there's the saplings, there's the sparse. I was happy with them. They were great. I didn't find a reason to rework them. But I wasn't happy with the main ones. So what I did was I reworked them. So I have a white, a pink, and you can see that even the barks, everything is different on them, like the branch distribution, the roots, everything is different on them. So you've got a good variety in there. White, pink, and if I zoom in, you can see they just look so much better than the first run did. And these ones are a blossom and a white, and then or a red, and then the red one's there. So I wanted to make sure you had a variety. This one's more like a transition. You could theoretically say it's going from different stages or seasons, or they could just be different trees. I mean, this could be a flowering plum, this one a cherry, this one a cherry, this one a crabapple. I mean, you could use them for whatever you wanted, right? And then I added this one, which is an ancient flowering cherry, and I put a little slope on it, gave it a little artistic style. I saw when I was looking at pictures to try and redo them because I wasn't happy with the first one. I found some neat stuff out there, and so I did this one. And you can see this one is actually animated here, but only a little bit. So what I've done is I have actually left alone, just used the map discard setting for the red flowers, and then the white ones I added a slight amount of animation to them. So there's just a little bit of motion in the tree from the wind. The whole thing's not moving, it's not chaotic. It just adds that little bit of motion. I think it looks good. Then I adjusted the roots and the rock, and I decided, well, I want to show how you can use a root just coming over a rock and give it a little bit of character. So that's what I did here. I just popped this root out of the big flared root wad, which is something I also changed on this ancient one. And if I zoom in on the bark here, you can see that definitely cherry tree bark still. But I flared this out more to make it more like that. It's been growing for a very long time, and it's a venerable tree. And then I added this rock in here, and I took this root and I laid it over on its side, and I just dropped it down into the ground, and you can see, yeah, that root's growing up and over the rock. And so there's a lot you can do with this, with these tools. But we're going to come back now that I've shown you the cherry trees in this kit. We're going to come back over here, and so I've added poplar tree. I'll zoom in on the bark here so you can see the poplar tree bark. So it's nice. I didn't find a great poplar tree bark, so what I did was I took a birch bark and I modified it. Yeah, and then I came up with the one that looked more like the poplar tree, added a bit of yellow, painted a bit of yellow and green on it, because the poplar, I have a lot of poplar in my area, so I got a really good physical reference, and they've got a lot of green and yellow, and the pollen and stuff on them really go that way. And I don't know if you can see here, but I added, I'll zoom in. I added these seed pods. I made sure to put these seed pods in my branching, because my poplar trees here have pretty big seed pods, and there's lots of yellow pollen that comes out from them. I wanted to try and make it a little bit realistic. So I'm just, I'm working, making these my own, trying to bring some life to them. So the next one here is, turning a little bit into fall, or maybe a little bit of bug damage or something to the tree. So you've got a few of the branches on here are the brown color, or the fall color. So gives you that transitionary. Then right into fall with this one here, they're all orange and falling. Then we go to we've got a couple of snags in front. I made two different styles of snags. So they could also be used as the winter trees, because they have no leaves on them at all. So you can use those for the winter, and they're similar, but they're different enough that they're different trees. On the ground here, I've got these kind of root wadded, fallen over, toppled trees. You could also use those as just another variety of a standing tree. Just rotate them up, and they place up when you put them in the scene. You got to rotate them down and put them where you want them. But you can just dump that root into the ground, and you got 3 more varieties. 2 more, a single, a double, or a split. And then over here you've got this one here is just a single, but in the fall category. Then I've got a Y split on the green, a Y split on the, and you'll notice they're different. Like the branch distributions are different between all 3 of them. They're not the same tree base. Then I've got the green and the yellow, so you've got kind of the seasonal transition, and then you've got the fall again. I didn't do a Y base on these. I might do one and add it in, just so you've got a winter Y base tree to put in there. I probably should. I'll add one in there. But that gives you quite a bit more assets there. Then over here, what I've done is I've added, I've only done one thing in the wildflowers today, but I put them on just a plain gray block so they'd stand out more and you could see them. So these are the different wildflower assets. This one here is an animated 3D. This is just a 2D billboard, 2D billboard, 2D billboard. Come over here. Sorry. 2D billboard, 2D billboard, 2D billboard, and then I made another of this lavender with 3 just kind of staggered into a clump, so you can make a lavender bush out of that. I'll probably do one more with more like a bush here combined with the lavender, and maybe like 6 or 8 of them, so you've got a really thick clump, because I know they grow that way. So I just want to add some variety and just keep it so that you've got a lot of resources to work with to flush out your scene. I'm probably going to do yet another yellow grass, and I'm going to do some, I'll do some ground specific for this. I'll probably do a transition to the, let me just move this a bit, a transition over here to the river rock, to this river gravel terrain that I've got this 2D river creek mesh set to. I'm probably going to do another terrain mesh of just like a pond that you could also scale to a lake or whatever with that same texture. But then I'm going to do two terrain grounds and possibly a third one. I want to do like a country windy road, so that's probably what I'm going to work on and finish up this weekend for this pack. But you're basically seeing now the majority of the pack. We've got some of this this Bakin pack. So we got a terrain texture for the trees. We've got a bunch of ground coverage. We've got this bridge. These rocks aren't part of it. We've got all this spruce. I'm going to make some rocks to put in here though. I'll make some to go with the final terrain I include with this. This is just the Irish ground terrain, and I'm using the rocks from Bakin pak4 because backpack 2 or backpack 3 because they just kind of mesh well with it. But I'll make some specifically for this terrain. And then you've got a bunch of cherry tree assets or blossoming, I don't know, apple, crab apple, plum, prune, whatever. Then the poplar trees are their most recent ads. So hopefully, hopefully this looks really cool, and I really think I've improved on the cherry tree assets. That's all I wanted to show you for tonight. I wanted to show you the finalizing of that last tree asset and bringing it into the engine just so you can see how to do it. If you do decide you want to pick this back and pack up when I release it, hopefully next week. And yeah, so I'll leave you there tonight, and we'll probably see you in a couple days. Have a good one.